D23 Expo revealed a bunch of new Star Wars stuff, including 3 major trailers for 3 upcoming Star Wars shows: Andor, the Tales of the Jedi show, and the Mandalorian Season 3. 2 of those, I would say, are probably lukewarm as far as what people want. And then the Mandalorian Season 3 is one that I think everyone's waiting for. So I want to discuss my thoughts on these 3 trailers. They are up at on Disney's official YouTube and the Star Wars YouTube channel as well. So the Cassian Andor series, I'm not really interested in this, and I haven't really been interested in it since the rumor first came out about 3 years ago. Cassian Andor was probably the second main character in Star Wars Rogue One. And he was fine in that role. He was fine in that movie, but there wasn't really anything about Rogue One that made me want to say, like, damn, like, I must know more about Andor. There wasn't really anything there. So this series has been kind of, I guess, just, it hasn't really been anticipated by me. I've kind of made jokes about it, like how they could do all kinds of cool side stories, but they chose Andor. The rumor is that it's supposed to be like 24 episodes. I think Disgusting Film said that. And that's a pretty long series. That is pretty long, considering that most of these shows are anywhere between 6 to 8, maybe 12 episodes. 24 is quite a bit. One thing I'm interested in is it's supposed to be an espionage story, which I like those, about the early days of the rebellion. Now, if you saw Revenge of the Sith, especially the deleted scenes, you know that the rebellion was kind of started there. The rebellion kind of began there. But Saul Guerrera's in this, and so is Andor. So this is sort of like where the rebellion begins to take shape. Now, I'm not really sure what Andor's place is in the Star Wars universe as far as how he helped create the rebellion, because we see him die in Rogue One, and there's not much after that because he's dead. However, this show is supposed to show that. It looks like, based on the trailer, it's going to be one of those shows where there are rumors of a rebellion, there's rumors of an uprising, and then Andor has to make the choice to join them or not. That's pretty much the way I'm seeing it, but there's nothing here that's really grabbing me to where I say, man, I must watch that show. Just nothing to me is all that interesting, but I'll give it a chance. There is a 3-episode premiere coming up later on this month, September 21st, so I will give it its fair due, but I do feel like the hype for this one, from me, is very, very low. After, Obi-Wan did, a lot more than I thought it was going to do, and definitely was a lot more successful than probably Disney thought it would do. This feels like a step down, only because Cassian Andor just isn't that big of a character. But maybe he will be. Maybe by the end of this story, he will be a big character, in which case that might be why they're doing it. I just feel like, we're so close to Rogue One's timeline based on what we've seen here that he's not going to be a big impact. But who really knows? The next trailer I want to discuss is Tales of the Jedi. Now, this is supposed to be one of those Clone Wars-esque, like animated, CGI animated series. It's kind of a sequel to, I guess you can call it a sequel. It's not really a sequel. That's not fair to say, but it's the next series after the Bad Batch and Clone Wars that has that style. Dave Filoni is obviously going to be the creative head behind this, and the story is supposed to be that there are 6, it's actually an anthology series based on what we've seen, 6 different stories of 6 different Jedi. Well, it says, the tagline is, 2 stories of fate, 1 destiny, Tales of the Jedi is coming to Disney+. So it looks like these shorts, they're only shorts. It looks like, which means I'm definitely going to check them out because they are short. Looks like it's going to go into some of the early pre-Clone Wars era stuff. Like, it seems to go into some of the training that Ahsoka did with Anakin off screen to make her such an effective Jedi. It seems that we're going to get a Count Dooku story of him as a Jedi before he became a Sith Lord. And I've always wanted that because, Count Dooku's always been a pretty cool character, mostly because Christopher Lee is such a great actor. He brought that character to life. And so seeing him in this story, I mean, it's I'm not going to crap on it. I know that becomes a trend to shit on Star Wars on YouTube, but I am interested because it's Jedi and Sith stuff, and like I've talked about before, anything involving the Force has always been interesting to me. As much as I love the Mandalorian, and as much as I love, that underbelly of the Star Wars universe, the scoundrels of the galaxy, so to speak. I really feel like the lore of the Jedi and the lore of those characters to me is very, very interesting. I feel like this is going to end up spinning off into something bigger. Like they're going to do a sequel to this show, or they'll do more Tales from the Jedi stuff. But seeing a younger Count Dooku fight in the trailer looks pretty cool. Mace Windu's going to be in it, and I'm guessing it's going to sort of be about Count Dooku controlling his dark side and controlling, how he sort of became who he was. Now, it feels like the only two stories here are going to be the Dooku and Ahsoka ones, but I'm not really sure. And they do have a new Inquisitor here who has shades of Revan. It looks like, it's not Revan, but it looks like Revan, and he appears to be the final villain. So I think it's going to be a story of Ahsoka, a story of Dooku. Yeah, I feel like that's what they're going to focus on, but there's going to be obviously appearances from Obi-Wan and Anakin and Mace Windu. So it is what it is. It's coming out October 26th, so it's not too long from now. Then there's The Mandalorian Season 3. The theme of this, season, or the theme of this show is going to be the continuation of what we saw not just in Season 2, but also in the Boba Fett series, with the Mandalorian returning home, leading up to an eventual, the eventual obvious war on Mandalore to free Mandalore from the Imperial remnant. There's some space battles here, which I am looking forward to. We don't have enough of those space battles in modern Star Wars, and they were really awesome. Especially as a kid, they were awesome to see. But this season it looks like, based on the trailer, it's going to have a hell of a lot more Mandalorians than we've ever seen before, and a hell of a lot more combat. Plus, based on the trailers, it looks like several characters from the previous 2 seasons of Mandalorian will be here. I'm looking forward to the space battles, but it seems like at this point, because of what we saw in Book of Boba Fett and what Grogu and the choice that Grogu made, I feel like Grogu, based on this trailer, now that Grogu is, I guess, free of being Luke's student, where's that character going to go? Because the whole point of the first 2 seasons was to get Grogu to the Jedi. That was done, and then Book of Boba Fett continued that, but Grogu chose to go with the Mandalorian. So I'm just wondering, in my head, where is that character going to go? Because he had a designation, which is to get back with his people, but now it looks like he's just going to be like the Mandalorian's little buddy. I could be wrong about that, but it does feel like... to me, it does feel like he doesn't have much of a role. And this is going to focus primarily on huge battles to get Mandalore back, which is actually what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a show that put the focus on that. And I wanted a show that really told that story, because the Imperial Remnant is out there. We're not at the First Order timeline yet. So it is what it is. And please don't be one of those people that says that they're going to retcon the sequel trilogy, because that was bullshit. It was a fake story. It was fake news. I'm sure some people still believe it because they read it on the internet, but they're not retconning shit. As much as I hate the sequel trilogy, it's part of Disney's canon, so the First Order is a thing. I don't want it to be, at least not the way it was portrayed, but it is a thing. But I feel like this might stray away from that and just focus on Mandalore. But I'm not sure about that, because the Mandalorian story has always been somewhat of an anthology series. Not an anthology, a much more episodic series, and then eventually would have like a big arc in the last 2 or 3 or 4 episodes. This might end up being a continuous arc. But they did a pretty good job of not showing us too many surprises, because there's going to be some surprises. There will be. So those are Star Wars' 3 big reveals, I guess you can say. I didn't see anything else come out today. If I missed something, I may do a video on it. But Mandalorian, I think, is going to do some big numbers. Andor, I'm not too sure about, to be honest. I doubt it'll do Obi-Wan numbers unless they have a really good opening few episodes. And Mandalorian definitely, I think, is going to once again capture the hearts of people. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have done some tremendously good work with those shows, and I think it's going to continue here. I do wonder, though, how long it's going to last. What more can you say? With that being said, let me know what you think in the comments. Take care, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.